Hello everyone, it's Sarah, Painty Creator here, and I've just put together this little 10cm square piece of paper. I've drawn a horizon line here for the sea, and then a sort of an island line here for a bit of the rocks. Tiny little lighthouse with a little house by the side of it, and really it's just going to be loose and little. I have no idea where this is meant to be. I've just drawn myself a sun to remind me that the shadows are going to come this way, but we're just going to work really quickly and loosely. So I'm just going to spritz my page. I've also spritzed my paints. Most of my paints today are Cotton watercolours, really good set. They're meant to be student grade, but they're really nice watercolours, good value for money. And I do have a code if anybody's looking for that, for a little bit of a discount, because they sent me one, which was really nice. So I'm just going to start off with a really nice cerulean blue, just leaving a few sort of fluffy clouds along the way. Just working carefully into that, and because it's a spritz, you can end up really nicely with some sort of harder edges and softer edges in there. Now I like that. If you don't like that, wet your paper fully before you start. And I'm just going to mix a really sort of simple grey using yellow, cerulean blue and a little bit of red light for a very neutral grey, just to add a little bit of a touch into some of these clouds. Just a bit of moving around. And I'm just going to add a touch of alizarin crimson into that mix, so I make a warmer hue. And that's the sky finished, so I'm going to just pause it and let that dry. Okay, so we're dry, we're flat, a little bit of a bit down here, but that's fine. So I'm going to mix up a turquoise blue with a touch of red light in there, just to make it a little bit grayer for the sea, because the sea is never and I'm just leaving some little bits. So I'm going to add a touch of hooker's green into there. Touch more as I'm coming forward a little bit. There we go. So again, I'm just going to let that dry. Here we are, we're dry. All of these drying times, if you've got a chronic illness, are really good for just letting your body rest for just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever works for you. So I'm just picking up some cadmium red from my palette, and I'm just using my little mop brush at the moment, but you could use a little number 4 or a smaller one if you need to. And I'm just going light into this wash, this first wash down, I'm going to go over the top of those railings, and I'm going to go over the top of that little window. And it's just the first wash. Where it's puddling a little bit, I'm just using a thirsty brush to soak it up. But I like that sort of loose feel. Just adding a touch of vermilion even, for a bit of a brighter side. So while the wash is still damp, just going in. So the sun's on this side, so this is the lighter side, this is the brighter side. Okay, so I've let that dry, and I quite like that sort of loose bit. I'm going to do a little bit of pen maybe over the top. So I'm going for the house next. I'm going for the house roof, and I'm just going to use a little bit of burnt sienna. Touch it on my paper towel. And where it's pooling, just wash your brush, take some water out of it, and then it'll just soak it up a little bit if you want an even wash. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of this grey that we used on the bottom of the clouds, just to drop in to those windows for now. And that door, and I can glaze over the top a little bit of Payne's grey. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. Okay, so I'm back with a little bit dry. So then I'm going for a nice bright sort of sap green based island vibe. Keeping it quite watery. So I'm going to drop some other colours in it straight from the palette. So a little touch of burnt sienna. Like that sort of sense of rocks and a little bit of foreground. I'm going to just drop a little bit of ultramarine into there as well. And like mix on the palette. There we go. Quite a simple way. I'm just going to smooth this off with a damp brush so it sits into the sea a bit more. And I'm going to let that dry. I'm just going to mix up a little bit of ultramarine into this red that's on my palette for the shadow colours. So it makes like a warm grey colour. Accidentally mix some of that burnt sienna in, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to drop shadow colour around this house because the sun's coming this way, so all of this will be in shadows. And I'm going to drop a shadow colour down this side of the lighthouse. And then I'm just going to get a small rigger brush and a little bit of Payne's grey. Touch that. I'm just going drop those little windows in. This is the bit where I have to remember to breathe. And that's the door. There's another window there. And I'm just going to go and put this little bit there and some of this black around a railing. I might make that a little bit thicker underneath. And a little bit more detail in those windows. And this door. I'm actually going to drop some ultramarine into that door. It looks a bit daft being totally black. Just use a thirsty brush, soak it up. Keep soaking it up. So I lifted that just using some water, and I'm just going to use some ultramarine straight from the palette. The paper's quite wet. That's nice. Bit of colour. Just helps lift that side. Okay, so last little bit, I'm just going to drop a darker edge around some of this island, just to bring it forward a little bit. Just using a little bit of that Payne's grey. And then, of course, my little seabirds, which I love to draw and paint. So some little seagulls. We go, and I think that one's finished. So I hope you've enjoyed that one, and I'll see you soon. I forgot to say, like, subscribe, you know the rules. I'm just going to get my pen on here, just darken this little bit. That side. There we go. So, hope you've enjoyed that one. Oh, forgot. Need to give it a signature. And a month.